Greetings to one and all, it's your old buddy Jay here, coming at you with another episode of Countermeasures, a Game Changer. Now, today I would like to talk about the game that I've been hotly anticipating for the last 4 days. It is Dragons in Space, which is the final game in the trilogy of games from The Voices. Now, I say final in air bunnies because I do actually believe there's a lot more to come. But yeah, this game, if you've been keeping up with anything on the channel, I have been reviewing a lot of the games from The Voices because I've been quite disappointed with the fact that a lot of these games are appearing on the PlayStation Store, which says quite a lot about the quality dipping on that store, and also drowning out any kind of indie developers that have a true vision with games like this. Now, the first game that I reviewed from The Voices was called Lady in a Leotard with a Gun, and it was truly awful. In fact, I think it was my worst game of 2021. Then I reviewed the follow-up to that, which is a game called Aliona. I can't even remember how to say it. I couldn't say it at the time. I still can't. Basically, that game was also not very good. And I just feel that there's a lot of these games kind of turning up on the PlayStation store, which are sort of directly from PCs, I guess. They're coming from Steam, and they're all done in the Unity engine and sort of quite badly put together with kind of store-bought assets. Now, this game, the third game in the trilogy, is it's called Dragons in Space. Now, as you can see, it doesn't bear any resemblance to any of the previous games, except it has carried the color palette through for the little spaceship that you're flying around in here, which is the kind of the pink and blue thing that you can see moving around. It looks a little bit like a kind of futuristic pork chop. Now, in this game, it has no connection to the previous two. You are this little spaceship, and you're meant to be scrolling along through these kind of asteroids and dragons in space that you have to take out. Now, you have to collect the little pink things, which are, the view of your ship from above. I guess they're your friends. There is these little green dragons that appear, and they try to attack you. And yeah, your mission is basically to take them out first. And there are some other things. There's some asteroids. As you can see, the background of this particular game took all of about 38 seconds to put together because it is truly, truly terrible. Yes, I guess it's just that kind of funny little star repetition. Now, these games aren't even done in an ironic way, which I find quite, sort of slightly weird. Initially, I thought that Lady in a Leotard with a Gun, was a load of kind of bodged together store-bought assets, and it didn't really work very well. It had no cohesion. And then the follow-up game, the Aliona game or whatever, that had the similar sort of problem. And this doesn't feel like it has a lot of store-bought assets. These actually look like they have been created. Now, the art style I'm talking about here. So I'm guessing that the actual programming of what the bad guys are doing and what your weapons can do and what your ship can do, it's all very basic and very simple. But I would say that probably is kind of like pre-bought code, whereas the actual graphic style and the way that these characters look and the way that they move, I feel this has actually been created by somebody. I can't imagine anyone actually paying any money for these assets because they are pretty basic and they are pretty simple and not that good. But I am going to say that I am happy about that because it doesn't feel overly glossy. It doesn't the style of everything matches. Okay, so this kind of everything's very simple, flat color. Everything's pretty basic. You've got a simple kind of parallel scrolling that's going along. Look, you can even see here where there's a little dink in the bottom part of the corridor that you're going along, which is now obscured by that. But there was a little dink, which means it hasn't quite been drawn properly. So that's fine because that actually means that probably was created by someone. And I mean, let's face it. These funny looking fish things, which I'm guessing are meant to be kind of curled up dragons in space, no one would necessarily want to buy that asset. It has to be free. So someone has actually drawn that, and I think that is a massive step forward for this production company. For this developer, because it basically shows them that they can create stuff. However good or bad it is, they can create stuff. And I have to say that, the backgrounds annoys me, but whatever. I have to say that they have made an effort with this one. They just haven't sort of bought a load of things that already pre-exist and tried to cobble it together into a game and pass it off as a, something that they've done themselves. They have actually thought it through, and it's moments like this where it looks like the screen's froze, but it hasn't. I'm just waiting for the next thing to kind of scroll along. Now, and all of the kind of the way that your ship moves and the things that it can do. It has a multitude of different weapons. They're all very basic and very simple. So much so that it has to be someone sat down and actually tried to do this from scratch, or certainly from a very base level of how to put these things together. And I have to applaud that. I have to say that this is miles better than the previous two games that I reviewed from The Voices. Now, this was only released on the 20th of this month, so it's only like sort of 3 or 5 days old. And, it's on the PS5. I mean, it is bad that it's on the PS5, and I don't really like the way that kind of culture of cheap, nasty games are popping up there, and it's all becoming quite it's sort of a thing that just happens now. I'm quite sad about that, because like I said before, it does very good indie developer games. But that said, this is an improvement on the previous other two games. Now, do I like it? No, it's not really my thing. Is it very basic and simple? Yes, that's fine. It has a simple premise, but you can see that they've really tried to do something different with this. They haven't got the pacing right. There is very little story, but there is a story. There's dragons in space. It's your job to go and rescue the ships. That's fine. The previous two games didn't have any story. They didn't have any deep lore like this. This now has deep lore. Get those dragons. Now, the game from start to finish is about 12 minutes. And it is only 39p on the PlayStation, and I kind of feel like it should be free. But as I've been playing this, and the level of simplicity and the basic programming this, I'm starting to think that The Voices, whoever owns that, the person that actually owns that developer, I have a feeling that they might be quite young and that they might be quite inexperienced, and that they're just chancing their luck. Now, I didn't like it when they did it on the previous games, because they were just taking store-bought assets that already existed and just sort of, doing it as a bit of a cash grab, and I thought they failed at that. Whereas with this one, I feel like, while it is just kind of a sort of a tech demo of sorts, there is some thought that's gone into it. You're being attacked by different creatures in different ways. You're challenged to move around the screen in different ways. Like I said, the pacing's all over the place, but there is a little bit of a story. There is structure. You can't turn your ship left or right or up or down. So if anything's on the left of you, you can't shoot that way. So you just have to either get back in front of it, like I'm just doing there, or just let it go. And I feel that that's just something that comes with experience, and something that whoever is putting this together is learning before our very eyes. So I just wanted to review this, because I just wanted to say that this is a massive step forward for them, even though it's not Skyrim. It's not you can't compare it to those AAA games, AA games, or even the indie market. I don't know what this is. I don't know where it falls, but I think they've tried hard with this to try. They've really sort of thought it through. Now, I did go through the levels very quickly until the end boss, which is like a challenge spike that just goes through the roof, and it's virtually impossible. So in a second, I will, as this video closes, I will just do a sort of a quick speed run through those boss fights, because it lasted forever, but I did beat it, and I got a trophy and everything. So yeah, I've got to say, I'm pretty impressed that they've actually sort of thought about a few more things within this game, and I'm sure it has absolutely nothing to do with what I've said about the previous two. But if the feedback that I was giving had any impact on this whatsoever, or it was along the lines of the feedback that they've got from other people, then it's obviously moving in the right direction. There's still problems with it, of course, but I have to say that they've done a much better job this time around. So I'm going to totally. Oh, here we go. Here's the boss fight. I will scoot through this in a sec, just so that you can see it in its entirety, because it was virtually impossible. But I've played Demon Souls and Dark Souls and Sekiro, and I can hold my own. But this provided a different kind of challenge. Anyway. much better. I think good for you, the voices. It's about time that you actually sort of started actually developing these games and making them your own, So I'm looking forward to seeing what the fourth one is in the quadrilogy or whatever. And thanks very much for watching. I've got to give it a score before we go. The other ones were really bad and their scores were not so great. I'm going to give this a 3 out of 10. Because while it isn't that great, I must applaud the fact that they've actually tried a little bit more with this one. So, and I did quite enjoy playing it, even though I'm not a fan of it. I will never ever play this game again. I deleted it immediately. But I did quite enjoy my 12 minutes with it. So yes, if you're looking for a good time, then don't play this. But if you're curious to see what a very kind of standard development cycle of a very basic game, which I suspect is probably just like one person in the room with a couple of other people involved in music, and the music was okay in this one. It wasn't too repetitive that it drove me insane. I think that go and spend 39p and support this developer. And hopefully the fourth game will sort of build on this. I don't want to see a step backwards. That will be a disaster. So this is the definite step forward. So well done for doing so. And looking forward to seeing the next one. So that's all I've got to say about this now. And I hope you enjoyed it, and and whatever, ding the dong or whatever they call it. And just leave any comments. You let me know if you like the review or what you think of this game, or if you've played any games similar to this, or if there's any games from the voices that I'm missing, then I'd really love to know about it. So that's it. So all that's left to say is be good, stay safe, and be kind to one another. Cheers.